like to call the meeting to order, please?
We all know that.
Hey, I'll take one.
That's fine. Did you want to look at that?
The meeting is called to order. Yes, please, thank you. If you would all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. This business meeting is being held both in person and through Zoom in compliance with RSU 38 policy BED, remote participation in school board meetings. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the Maranacook.org YouTube channel. Please be aware that during the course of this meeting, the microphones of the viewing audience will be muted except during the identified portions of the public comments at this meeting. For today's agenda, that's number 4. If you'd like to speak during the public comment times, please use the chat feature to signal Mrs. McGregor, and she'll communicate with me and we'll let you come in. In-person speakers that are here tonight, please sign up on the clipboard by the door if you'd like to speak. All individuals that wish to speak, whether in person or virtual, please identify yourself with first and last name and the town that you live in. Please note that individuals that do not live in our member communities may or may not be granted permission to speak at the discretion of the board chair. We also ask that speakers limit their individual comments to 2 minutes, and if someone speaks ahead of you that has a similar view, please reference their comment. We thank you in advance for your constructive comments.
So attendance and all votes will be done through roll call. So board members, when your name is called, please cast your vote with the 3 available options of yes, approve, no, disapprove, or abstain. The first thing we're going to do is the roll call. So we'll start with Kim.
Present.
Dave.
Yes, here.
Jade. She was going to be online.
Here.
Awesome. Excellent. Dean.
Yes, here. Here, sorry.
Oh, good. Tyler.
Here.
Kathy.
Here.
Melissa. Is she online? Nope.
No.
Patty.
Here.
Rebecca.
Here.
Betty. Is she online? Nope. Sean.
Here.
Kelty.
Here.
David.
Here.
And our 2 student reps, Esme
Here.
and Eric.
Here.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, so we're going to start a meeting tonight with some recognitions. We have quite a few folks that we'd like to recognize tonight. So the first group of people that we want to recognize are the students who were inducted into the National Honor Society this year. So just in case, I'll come up here. Is this on? It is, okay. So these are the students that were inducted into the National Honor Society, and it's more than just this year, which is why it's such a long list. So I'll read the names, and if any of them are here, they can come up to the podium and get their certificate. Jenna Badeau, Zachary Berg, Morgan Boynton, Annabelle Brand, Jaden Bryant, Jordan Carr, Genevieve Sorello, Alexander Clark, Thomas Clausen, Theo Colvin, Ella Delisle, Grace Dwyer, Ryan Emerson, Anna Erb, Hannah Gilmat. Yay!
Thanks for coming.
I can see where I left off. Emily Harper, Mary Hatt, Claire Holman, Tyler Reben, Muriel Kane, Marjorie Knight, Ally LaBelle, Andrew Lemieux, Emily Lucas, Sophie Ma, Dylan McGar, Samuel McGee, Chase McLaughlin, Elia Morgan, Ruby Nelson, Maxwell Olmsted, Eliza Patishall, Julia Riley, Ella Schmidt, Riley Schachter, Sarah St. Clair, Sally Stokes, Alexander Trafton, Sophia Tweedy, Addie Watson, Winter Webb, and Shiloh Woodford. So let's just have a round of applause for all of those people. Their achievements this year and last. That was great. A lot of hard work goes into that, and we're really proud of them. Thank you. So the next group of students that we're honoring tonight are students that are being inducted into the National Technical Honor Society. And that society comes from their participation in CATSI. And they've earned this honor because of their work and efforts in their classes that they've taken at CATSI. So this is a really high honor for all of these students as well. Ella Delisle, Madeline McDonald, London Putnam, and Ella Schmidt. Congratulations to all of you.
Getting those steps in tonight, Kathy.
So the next group of folks that we'd like to honor tonight are our retiring staff members. And just a quick word for those of our folks that are retiring is we really appreciate all the time and the energy and all the things that you have given to our district over the years. So we hope for the very best in your retirement. I'm sure you'll all keep pretty busy and have a great time. So thank you so much and congratulations. Feel free to say a few words yourselves when you come up if you like. So we're going to start with Steve DeAngelis. How many years have you been with us?
Well,
You speak into the microphone.
44.
44 years. Wow.
So, yes, a long time. Can I say a few words? Really?
Absolutely, yes.
First of all, thanks for doing this. I oftentimes give the board a hard time when you do things I don't think are correct, but I really appreciate you supporting us and inviting us to come as part of tonight. So I came back from the staff party at the Andrews Garden Yacht Club just for this. I'm turning around, going right back again. So I appreciate it. Thank you. A shameless plug. I'm not really retiring. I'm just refurbishing myself. And I've started a nonprofit called the Steve DeAngelis Community Fund to support young children and their families in the 4 towns in Fayette. And if you go to stevedfund.org, you can check it out and you can make a donation if you want. It's going to be freaking awesome. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you, Steve. Next on the list is Craig Dunn, who has been a custodian in Mount Vernon for many years. I don't know if Craig's not here, but let's give him a hand anyway. Sure how long he's been there, but it's been a while. Cheryl Marviny is a high school science teacher. Cheryl's not here either, but
She was actually, I believe, at the party as well.
oh. And Cheryl's, you don't know how many years Cheryl's been here, do you? 23 years? Yep. 27. Oh, it says it on my list. I'm sorry, I didn't notice that. 20, thank you. 27 years. Okay, the next one is Patty Salpetro. Patty's been with us for 12 years and she's an ed tech and I think you're in Reedfield, right? You have,
Well, we're
you-
actually, Steve and I are on the same street,
oh,
just 2 houses from each other. Yeah, I taught 30 years in Connecticut, came to Maine to retire, but that didn't
we
happen.
know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Thank you for all you've done for the district. The next one is Lorraine Schwartz, who's one of our bus drivers. Again, Lorraine's not here, but she's been a bus driver for a long time, at least probably 25 years or more. Oh, I guess I could look at my list. 29 years, so it's almost right. So let's hear it for Lorraine. The next one is Diana Soyet. I'm not sure if I said that right, but she has been with the food services in our district for 34 years. So, congratulations. And Mary Ellen Tracy, who was a middle school teacher, she's been in the district for 23 years. So congratulations on your retirement, Mary Ellen. And Bridget Williams. Bridget has been our finance manager in the district for 32 years. And now she's leaving. She's already left us and we do miss you. But congratulations. And last but not least is Kurt Williams, who's been a custodian in our district for 30 years. So, 30. All you've done. I hope you two enjoy your retirement. Okay. Let's hear it again for everyone that's retiring.
Kathy, if I may, I just want to point out that Kurt came back for the Manchester kickball game that was a new kind of tradition, fifth graders versus the students, and Kurt played on the team. They lost, the teachers did lose by 1, but it wasn't Kurt's fault. So, so thank you, Kurt, for coming back. I know that was awesome for the kids.
I was going to say, I bet the kids love that. So thank you. Thank you, Spread and Help. Okay, and finally, we'd like to recognize our outgoing board members. Oh, I hope I can sit down. So first one is Kim Bowie. Kim has been with us from Manchester for 3 years, and she's going to be going on to bigger and better things, I guess. But anyway, we really appreciate all your time.
Heavy, everybody look out. Get you over the head if this meeting takes too long.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, word.
So good luck with whatever your
Thank
next
you.
plans are. We really will miss your good questions that you always asked and your conversations that were really important to the work that we were doing. So we hope we'll still hear from you though.
Sure thing. I'm sure you will, unfortunately.
I would say that's unfortunately. And the last person that's leaving the board is Melissa Tobin, and Melissa is not here tonight. So she's been on the board for 4 years from Mount Vernon. So she'll also be leaving us. So okay, so that's it for our recognition tonight. Thank you all for coming. Enjoy the party.
Don't drive too fast on your way back, Mr. D.
Steve, could you say your website one more time before you leave, please?
Glenn,
Just so we can write it.
Steve D. My
You
first
ready?
name is Steve D. Fund at UND.
Steve D. Fund at, oh, just .org. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks again for doing this.
So are there any citizen comments? Oh. Mary Ann Libby.
Rather just wait till you get to that item.
If
Yeah.
that's okay,
Yeah,
if that's all right with you to wait till then. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great. Yep.
Any other citizen comments from Zoom? No? Okay. Are there any additions or adjustments to the agenda from the board or superintendent?
I do have one, if you guys can pencil them in, it'll be item J, resignation of Cassie Dumpy, Reedfield Elementary School teacher. Oh, excuse me, not J, sorry, I had that wrong. Oh, thank you, oh.
That's going to be.
Should be O, thank you.
We just want-
Make it H and.
Yeah, just, can we make it H and just shift everything else down?
Deal.
As long as I don't get too confused, I can do that. Okay. But if I skip over it, you'll know, just remind me. So is that okay to add to the agenda? Is the board all right with adding that to the agenda? Okay.
We have to.
We can sing this.
Mrs. Dumpy, you have to stay.
So now we have some action.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say, I don't know if I need to add it on here, but I did have something that I wanted to talk about that I've had multiple parents voice concern about. And I don't know if I should add it here or add it to a discussion at a later point.
What is it, Jade?
A discussion about multi-age in the middle school.
Let's put that at a later time, okay?
Okay. I just have a lot of
Alrighty.
parents who are voicing concern. So
Likewise.
what was that?
That was Dane. I said likewise.
Yeah.
You're referring to the middle school integration of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, correct?
Correct.
So I guess my question would be, have they spoken to the principal or the teachers yet? And that is what I would always go back to first before we bring it to the board level.
Yeah, so I actually have had a conversation with the principal and we've gone back and forth just a little bit about it. But again, I think a further in-depth conversation needs to be had.
Does that have anything to do with curriculum, Kathy? Could it be talked about at curriculum?
It could be, but we'll
It's
put
not
it on,
changed.
we'll
It
put
hasn't
it.
changed, right?
What?
It hasn't changed. We're talking about the same multi-age that it's been for years and years.
Yes. So I've written it down, Jade, and we'll talk about it at a future agenda, on a future agenda. So we'll move on to the action if there aren't any others. So do I have a motion for approval of the minutes from June 1st?
Motion to approve the minutes of June 1st is read.
Second.
Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded, no discussion?
Kim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Melissa, oh, she's absent, apologize. Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Betty is absent as well. I'll stop calling her name. Sean? Abstain. Kelty?
Yes.
And David?
Yes.
So 10 yes and 1 abstention.
So I have a motion for approval of the negotiated agreement between RSU 38 Board of Directors and the Maranacook Area School Professional Staff Association.
Motion to approve negotiated agreement between the RSU 38 Board of Directors and the Maranacook Area School Professional Staff Association.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, no discussion. We'll take a vote.
Kim?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yes.
And David,
Yes.
unanimous. Okay,
So I assume they approved it on there and,
they did, yes.
Okay,
So
well.
we were the last step.
okay, I wasn't sure. I just want to make sure.
Yep.
So I have a motion for the appointment of first probationary contract teacher at Reed Field Grade 1, Heather Gallant.
I move to approve the first probationary contract teacher, RES grade 1, Heather Delant.
Second.
Any discussion? So it's been moved and seconded, no discussion, we'll vote.
Righty, Kim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yeah.
And David,
Yes.
unanimous as well.
Do I have a motion for the acceptance of resignation of middle school teacher Kelly Corrigan?
Move to accept resignation of MS teacher Kelly Corrigan effective June 30th, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? Moved and seconded, no discussion, we'll vote.
Kim,
Sadly, yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes, with regret.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yeah.
And David,
Yes.
unanimous again.
Do we have a motion for the acceptance of the resignation of RES teacher Jennifer Tweedy?
I move we accept the resignation of RES teacher Jennifer Tweedy effective June 30th, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? So it's been moved and seconded, no discussion, we'll vote.
Kim,
So super sad, but yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes, with huge regret.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yes.
And David,
Yes.
again unanimous.
Do I have a motion for the acceptance of resignation of middle school principal Kristen Levesque?
No.
I move that we accept the resignation of MS Principal Kristen Levesque effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is a huge loss. This makes me sad.
Super sad.
It's a, all three of these teachers are phenomenal so far. And I'm sure we'll continue, unfortunately.
Okay. Vote.
Kim,
No? Is that an option? Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Can't take it. It's so sad.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes, with deep, deep regret and gratitude for all Kristen has done.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey, and David,
Yeah.
unanimous.
Do we have a motion for the acceptance of the computation and declaration of votes?
I move we accept the computation and declaration of votes.
Second. Any discussion?
All right, Kim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
and David,
Yes.
unanimous.
Do we have a motion to approve the assessment warrants and installment schedules?
motion to approve assessment warrants and installment schedules.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Kim,
Yes?
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yes.
And David.
Yes.
Unanimous.
So before we go to the motion for the appointment to the Maine School Board Association Delegate Assembly, do we have anybody that would like to? Patty?
No.
Yourself?
Oh, I just wanted to remind you that
Hey, thank
we
you, Patty.
forgot to do there was an additional.
I told you I was gonna forget it. Okay, well, let's do the delegate and then we'll do the next one. after. Thank you for reminding me. So is anyone interested in being the delegate of the delegate assembly?
I thought Tyler said he wanted to do
Oh,
Sure, I will do it again.
I'm looking
Yes,
at
I
him
will
like,
do it again.
okay.
Yay, Tyler.
Okay, so thank you, Tyler.
As long as it's on a Saturday and I can zoom in, I'll do it again.
I believe it is.
Okay.
And we also need an alternate delegate. Who said I'll do it?
Jade.
Jade, okay.
Oh, thank you,
Rock
Jade.
on, Jade.
Thank you. So now do I have a motion for the appointment of Tyler Dunn for the local delegate and Jade Parker for the alternate delegate?
I move to appoint to the Maine School Board Association as the local delegate Tyler Dunn and Jade Parker as the alternate delegate.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you.
It'll be a great Saturday for you.
I have two monitors.
Maybe it'll rain.
So I do have to do the vote, guys. Kim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
So unanimous again.
So I'll be getting your names to the board and then they'll get in touch with you with the information that you need. Okay. All right. So now we've got to go to is there a motion to accept the resignation of Reedfield Elementary School teacher Cassie Dumfrey?
I
move that we approve the resignation of Reedfield teacher Catherine Dumpy.
Second.
Any discussion? So it's been moved and seconded. We can vote now.
Kim,
Gosh, it's a heartbreaking last meeting of the year. This stinks. Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
So unanimous.
So is there a motion to authorize the superintendent to file the proper and necessary application forms to participate in any and all selected federal programs and otherwise act as the authorized representative for on behalf of RSU 38?
I motion that we authorize the superintendent to file the proper and necessary application forms to participate in any and all selected federal programs for the RSU 38 and otherwise act as the authorized representative for and on behalf of the RSU 38 for 2022, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion?
Now we know he can't leave. That's what you point to. We got a whole year out of it, so stay put. Sorry.
Okay.
It's my last meeting. I'm allowed to be punching.
Any other discussion? Hearing none?
Okay, Kim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Is there a motion to authorize the superintendent to hire and accept resignations during the summer?
Hiring, not resigning. Sorry. no.
I move that we authorize the superintendent to hire and accept resignations in consultation with the chair or vice chair during the summer.
Second.
Any discussion? Sean?
I have a question. We have two pretty significant positions to be hiring. The middle school principal, the high school vice principal. Is there any way we could meet or over Zoom or something to get an update on those? Not saying you wouldn't do a good job, but I think those are pretty significant positions that the board should be weighing in on.
Yep.
That's my request when it comes to this, if that's possible.
Are those going to be panels, like a group?
Yep, just like we did for the high school. Same thing, right? I can give you a quick update on the vice principal, if that's okay with Kathy. So we are looking to set up interviews for next Thursday afternoon. And I'm working with Kate Taylor in Human Resources. She's working on all the logistics for us for right now. We had a significant number of applicants, which was really nice. So I think we've got a pretty good class, just like we did at the high school level. I think we're going to have a pretty good class at the for the vice principal position too. So we'll be in touch shortly. I know Dane will be reaching out to you if we haven't already. And I didn't know if there was another board member that was interested in the vice principal position. And again, I know it's summer and you got to look at your calendars and stuff, but I can coordinate with put you in touch with Kate, who's going to coordinate all of the logistics around that. So.
I mean, be.
Oh, Tyler?
Yeah. I have a question. Will the new principal at the high school be involved in that?
Yes, we
process?
are working
Okay.
on having Michelle be part of that.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. That's why we're trying to make sure that we coordinate that with her as part of that. What we're doing. And then the the middle school principal, in all honesty, it'll probably be after the 4th by the time we interview, but we will be trying to do it as close to the beginning of July as we can. And then getting that out. And I know I have Kathy's name, Sean, and I think Dane had put his name in too. Typically we do too, but we can talk more once we start to, based on people's schedules and stuff, if you guys are okay with that.
And I wanted to throw my name out there as well for the middle school one.
I'm happy to sit on any of them if you need me.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's a little bit tougher in the summertime because of everyone's personal schedules and stuff. So we'll work it out. I have all the names and we'll reach out. So I hope that's okay, Sean. That's just a kind of quick.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I just
Yeah.
think that we
Yeah.
should be, I just think those are significant. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying teachers aren't significant, but I think those are,
No, absolutely.
very
Leadership roles.
visible. Yeah, leadership roles. So,
Sure.
Any other discussion?
So that's,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Doesn't change to Jen. No, I don't know. Okay.
Kim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty, and David.
Yep.
Unanimous.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a summer school update, and we have some information in your folder about this.
So I just tried to put together a quick snapshot so you would kind of know what was going on. I'll run through it and then answer any questions as we go through. So elementary level, we're doing grades 1st through 6th grade. Amy Haig is a teacher from Manchester. She's going to be the lead director there. We are going to be doing it at Reedfield Elementary School this year. We've already worked with Mr. Boston and Sean Drinkwater's crew, so that way we'll use just part of the building and stay away. At the time that I wrote this, we were at 29 out of 50, but I saw Amy last night. and we're actually up to 40 out of 50 slots filled. And Amy thought she would have a full 50 slots by the end of this week. So she had a few phone calls she still had to make, but she was thinking we're at 40 out of 50 as of last night, and she expects to be full. We have 5.5 staff, so 5 teachers and a half-time ed tech. That's actually being split between the elementary school and then the middle high school. The days of the week that we're running are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8:30 to 11:30. Breakfast will be from 8 to 8:30, and lunchtime will be from 11:30 to 12. Transportation will be located at each of the elementary schools, bringing them to Reed Field. The middle high school, where Ernest Colvin is our lead director there. It will be up at the high school. Again, we've already designated rooms. I have not talked to Ernest. I know his number's gone up, but I'm not going to pretend to know what the number is currently because I didn't catch up with him today. But it is higher than 21 right now. Again, 5 teachers, and the days of the week for the high school will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, the same times and the same transportation going forward from there. The high school is going to be more of a credit recovery model going forward because we've got kids that they need summer school in order to kind of get back on track for graduation. The middle school is going to be a program that gets them ready for high school. And we're using a curriculum from, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Edgenuity is the curriculum that we'll be using for them. And then at the elementary level, the students were identified using some NUIA scores, teacher input, and again, trying to look at those students that would benefit most from having that extra time in the classroom, or I should say in school with their teachers, with a teacher. And again, it'll be some literacy, some math, and a little bit of science thrown in there as well for those 3 days a week. I will tell you guys, our biggest challenge was staffing this year. That's why we're lower than we were last year. We had a total of about 120 students last year. This year we're at, if we're full, it'll be 100 K through 12. And the big thing for that has been trying to find staffing. We even advertised outside and didn't get any applicants. So thancfully, there was several members we went to and said, would you do it again, please, for us? And they said yes. Oh, yeah. So that was a good thing, both at the high school, middle school, and elementary school. I know Patty's got a question.
I just wonder how the whatever that
Yep,
program is
yep.
for middle school and is how that was selected or identified and what are the students in summer school who are middle schoolers ever going to work with a teacher, or are they just going to plug
Yes,
in?
no,
and be-
that's the way we have it set up is it's a credit recovery course for the high schoolers. They're going to be able to test out, but they're actually going to be assigned a live tutor through Edgenuity. Plus they'll have a teacher in the classroom for that, whatever the course is. So they'll actually have 2 teachers. One will be online and one will actually be in the classroom with them for that. That program is aligned to Maine standards. That's one of the reasons why we adopted it. It's actually used by several schools in Maine, but I don't have that list in front of me, so I apologize. I can get that list though. But we did that. The director of curriculum, Karen, was kind of instrumental in that. And she did a lot of work at the high school, as well as Kim Ray and Sarah Chisholm did a lot of work as well, talking with teachers about using that particular piece of software.
Thank you.
Any other questions about summer school? Nope. Okay, thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
So next on the agenda is to talk about food service offerings. And we have some handouts in our folder.
So what I asked Jen to do was I got some specific questions about some specific menu items. So on that kind of second page 2, what she did was put together what those particular menu items the grains that are included in that, that kind of thing. The next page, again, she highlighted what the daily minimums and weekly minimums are. And I asked her to kind of put this back in based on the questions we got. Then, as you're going through, then you're looking at the actual USDA documents for those cheese. First one I'm looking at is cheese sticks, so I apologize. But as you're looking at that, all of that is the information from the companies that are supplying those nutritional items, for lack of a better way to say that. So it's all kind of there. So that way you can take a look at what the nutritional breakdown looks like going forward from that. So thought we'd go right to the USDA, which is the first, the people that have to authorize our program.
Are there any questions for Jay?
There's a lot of information there, so if you want to like look it over and read and then mark it up the way that this has been working, I do like, because then I can go back to Jen with the specific questions with that, so.
These items are basically what makes up the lunch menu every month.
Yep, and I don't look at the menu every
Okay.
month, I'll be
It
very
is.
honest, so
It is, no, it's not. It's the same thing every month, basically, with a little, maybe a quesadilla thrown in there, maybe a corn dog, something that's non-nutritional as well. So I was one that asked about this. I've been bringing this up for months because this is concerning to me. This is, in my eyes, disgusting food that we're serving our kids on a daily basis. And the thing that sticks out to me is the meat/meat alternative minimum amount that we're giving them. Clearly, we're giving them the minimum amount. I have seen pictures of tacos at lunch that was, I'd say 14 pieces of ground beef with whatever. Jay, if I could, can we ask them?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
What's your opinion on it? You've been through elementary school, middle school, high school.
I will say it gets better a little bit, not a ton. Elementary school, you get the 3 choices and they're not very good. Middle school gets a little better. You have more options. There's usually like one healthy option because they always like have, at the high school, we always have like a parfait option. They have a salad option. Like today, I think it was like feta strawberry salad. But then they also have like quesadillas. They have pizza every day. There's usually a chicken option every day. Then what else is common? Hello, anything with marinara sauce. That's a popular one. But it does get better as you go up, but it's still not great. Like it's still.
Do you guys feel like the lunch amounts provided, you're satisfied that you're like, yeah, that's another very common complaint I heard.
Always left starving.
So you're not getting, they're giving you the bare minimums is what you're saying.
Yeah, I ended up having,
Like one slice pizza, and they're not big pieces.
Right.
For a high schooler, that's not very much.
I ended up having to have my sister get the second free lunch because she would bring lunch from home. So
What about the salad bars? Do you consider those a
I-
green leafy, like nice fresh vegetables? Or
Depends
they're
on the
like,
day.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes the vegetables that are there are kind of gross. Like I always try to get cucumbers. That's always my go-to. And then I get like a fruit on the side. And some days the cucumbers are like soggy and then you just don't eat them. And like, there's not usually a rotation between what we get. It's always like lettuce, cucumbers, and carrots, and celery. Celery is always there. But then like the fruit also is good and bad days. The grapes, sometimes pineapples, what else?
the apples.
The apples. People literally just grab apples and then
Put them
put them
to the side.
to the
Cleaned
side
up later.
after because they're required to get an apple. Same with the milk.
Yeah.
Because we're required to get the milk and like either a fruit or vegetable. So people just grab whatever's convenient and then they just kind of toss them to the side after they get by the line and it gets very useful. Like there's a lot of milk. things that get put to the side after.
Huh.
That's not great.
Yeah.
I remember like before COVID occurred, the kids had like this, there was like 7 items on the menus. There was like a turkey sandwich, chicken salad, or sun butter jelly, which is now the new permanent alternative to whatever you're getting served, which cool, great choice. And I understand that as a parent, I have the option to provide my kid that lunch, but maybe I don't want to make it. But if the school's supposed to provide them a healthy lunch, what we're giving them, the common complaint I'm getting from parents and teachers is my kids come home and are like, we're starving, they're not giving us enough, and what they are giving up is, yeah, it's approved by the USDA, but it doesn't say much.
Yeah. Well, just remember, it's free right now, and it's not something that the school is going out and purchasing.
Right.
We get what they provide us.
Right, and I talked
So
to other
it's-
schools who
yeah.
are free, and their menus look nothing like this. Not just one school, obviously everybody knows where it's at RSU 18. Multiple schools, and it's a free lunch for them, but it's a wide array of, they don't get cheese sticks every week. I don't know what happened within that last 2 years, but this has obviously been a concern of mine for quite a while, and I am not going to stop until it changes. So prepare yourselves for continued conversations.
So is this something that the rest of the board is interested in us pursuing? Or is this?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think this menu looks disgusting. I mean, it's all kinds of cheese and nachos and cheese. It just doesn't look.
I mean, I think
These are the
we
things
all
that
have
come
to
like
temper
Jenna.
our expectations, because I can say I'm in college and my menu is no better than this. And I'm at a private business school. So I think a lot of it is too, it's gonna come down to cost. If you start looking at, I'll just use beef, for example. Beef prices have doubled in the last year. Poultry, I'm buying chicken tenders right now in my business, wholesale at over $3-4 a pound for chicken tenders.
They don't serve chicken, so
I understand that, but I'm saying if we want to look at that, we're going to be looking at $4 to $5 a pound.
no, they've done it. This is my point is when I entered this school district, if you will, with my kids, they were not getting this. I understand it's free now. However, comparing to other schools, which we're not supposed to do, they're still getting free lunches and they are getting a much healthier, much more options. If they want to bring back the paying, it's $1.25, whatever it was. I think most parents would do that.
So I guess my question is, what's the desire of the board to, how do you want to move forward with this?
Who
I-
creates this?
Would think that food service and the administration, I'm open to other ideas, but food service and administration could, as they're able, look at it and say, well, we could do this and this and this. It would cost, as you said, Tyler, this and this. And then one of the discussions would be whether we went back to paying or not. Or, initially I'd rather not. But that doesn't mean we wouldn't want to look at expanding and improving the menu. Now, I would be fine eating these things, but I wouldn't eat just those things. So I'm not limited by.
Right, but you're also at your peak. You're not a
so-
7-year-old kid who's growing.
So I object to them being called disgusting or valueless. But I strongly support the idea of further research and us working together with the administration to see what we can do. I suspect everybody would support that, especially with your feedback.
I think we need to take a look at what we're getting provided, what we're being provided for this free cost. And where's the money coming from? What's left over? There's a lot of answers that.
So when you say where the money is coming from, I'm not,
So if we're not
Clear on
paying for
that.
this, how is it free?
the US, we get a commodity truck that pulls in and drops.
And they
the
just give
food.
us cheese sticks and breadsticks?
Do we create the menu
So
from what's dropped off?
Rebecca had her hand up next. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask if we have control over what they bring us? Do we like place an order of what we need? Or do they say, how many kids do you have and this is what you get and they just drop it off?
So a combination of both of what you just said. Some of it is based on, here's your population, this is what you serve, and then some of it is there's a degree of choice there. I don't know what that choice is because I don't do the ordering, so just being honest about that. But it's a combination of both things there.
You go first.
Kim, did you want to say something?
No, Rebecca, no.
Patty?
Oh, okay.
Tyler was next.
But I haven't heard from you. We haven't heard
Yeah.
from you yet, Patty. So let's hear from Patty, then we'll go to Tyler.
If there are other districts around who are getting free food that is more healthy, then can we just look into that, see what it is they're doing, and then come back and talk about it more? Or somebody come back and talk about it more and like, see if we can do it too? I mean, it exists, right?
Tyler?
So my thing goes back to the business side of it. Jay, how is it, or someone else can answer this, how is, when it's free, are we getting just a backstop subsidy from the federal government, or are they just taking the whole bill? Like, we're not, like, we're not exchanging money
Right,
at all.
there's no exchange of money at this point.
Okay,
right?
that was
So,
my question.
Yeah, so like the other thing we have to remember is based on the size of the school and how many meals you serve, we also have a budget in terms of how the workers are allotted for being able to work. Like it says you serve this many meals, so you should need this amount of time to prep, clean, and serve. This is how much time you have. So when they're planning the menu, they have to take that into account as well. As to, do we have enough time to prep, serve, clean? Sorry, I said that wrong the last time. So, yeah. So I have no problem reaching out to RSU 18 and talking to Carl Gartley about it if you want.
It wasn't RSU 18 that I spoke to that. Are you saying that
I'd
most
love
people
to know who
know?
it is. I'll give him a call and talk to them.
I mean, you can look at Gardner's menu and they pull it right up.
So is there, instead of, I appreciate the fact that you're offering to do that, but I'm just wondering if we wanted to take that as a board action and maybe have a little committee that either reaches out to other schools or does some more research and then comes back and reports to the rest of us. It's just a thought.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer that over having Jay or
Yeah.
or anybody have to do it.
So. who
And
wants
I
to-
think if we do it, I think a committee like that, I think we do need, that should definitely be opened up to students.
Do what?
Opened up to students.
Oh, absolutely. We need their input, that's for sure. They're the ones that are eating it.
Yeah.
I guess I have some question back to you. John, did you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just figuring out how this works, because, I mean, I just Googled school lunch menu Maine. The school comes up and they have, they're serving fresh Maine milk somehow. Like, how does that, I mean, I'm not, all meals served with choice of Maine milk. And then it says harvest, they're having the harvest of the monthly leafy greens, chicken nuggets with potato, I mean, I don't know what I don't know, but like, how do they make that happen? Like, are there other, macaroni and cheese with vegan chili mac? All meals are free for all students.
So I think that's a good example of if we could look at other schools and how
How do
they're
they
doing
make
it.
that happen?
And I just wondered if that whole farm to school program that's offered that, I read about that all the time. And I think a lot of schools are involved in that and they're connected with local farms and they get a lot of local produce and those kinds of things. So I think that, and at one point I thought we were doing that 4 or 5 years, 6,
We still
7,
are. We
6.
still are. We're
Yeah.
involved. Yeah, we're involved with Friend to School. I sign it every month.
Okay. And that's good to know because, I guess I think we just need a little bit more information about how that works. What is that? What does that really mean for us, that farm to school? So do I have anybody that wants to volunteer to be a part of this research committee? Tyler, thank you. Dane? Kelly? Good, okay, great.
Will ever talk about getting paid for the
extra food and compost? Big pig roast at the end of the year?
So the short answer to that is no. Thanks for bringing it up.
I like that idea.
People, that is.
Because I guess just to add, like, I've heard of some schools, there's an option through like local farmers who have signed up on through the state to say, I will provide Hamburg at the rate you pay. Or I will provide, I don't know the program off the top of my head, but I've heard this conversation listening into the ag committee and is like, there's farmers who will say, I'll provide this stuff at the rate that you pay just because they have access.
I also, just to add to that, have heard people say, I don't know what district, but I would be glad to look around to find it, that they have arrangements with farmers who do have pigs to take food waste, so it doesn't just all go in the trash, and that would be awesome too.
We're bringing it back.
But it's not as simple as that. There's like all these rules surrounding that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, no.
No, but you're right.
But there are some rules because
Yeah.
Senator Black, one of the senators I work with, used to pick the food up, but it has, I don't know. I don't want to get into all the details, but there's a lot of. rules.
And I don't know, I just know I heard of it, yeah.
Okay, so I think we have a plan. Tyler, Dane, and Kelsey, you guys are gonna work on doing some research around what other schools are doing to.
What do you want, just menus? Or-
Nope, we want, how do they get, I mean, what, yeah, menus, but, okay, so what do their menus look like? How do they get their food? What are their local providers? How are they using Farm to School? That program? I think there's a lot to it.
I think you probably have to ask how many they're serving and stuff as well.
Right.
If there's a mathematical equation that goes into that, that's based on the number of
Well,
students.
RSU puts
versus-
theirs out, RSU 18 puts theirs out for each, like elementary school is provided. This is the lunch menu. Middle school, this is your lunch menu. And it's all, I just showed Kim, it's like 7 items each thing. Chicken with rice and gravy,
So
peas.
the question is, how are they able to do that?
And I think exactly what Jay was saying, it's a matrix.
Absolutely.
Students' time and the USDA, they've got it all figured out, right? So, it's tricky.
It is, but I
know
think
being
that,
on the
Is this all based on
school
calorie per person too, or is it, what if there's a tiny kid?
tiers, there's tiers to it.
Okay,
there's
tiers.
a whole matrix to it,
Okay.
and it's like this labyrinth. that I've never
Yeah.
quite figured out, but I'm excited to dive into it. I'm glad you're done, about it. It's important.
Oh, it'll change.
the other thing I think we have to consider is what David said about the cost. I mean, do we want to, because if we want to do this, it probably is going to be at some cost. And so do we want to budget that into our general fund budget, or do we want to?
If these other schools are able to get,
Right, that's what,
Lunch is
that was
like-
my question.
can I read a
How-
couple of these from you real quick?
How are
You can hear
these
this.
other,
No, but listen. Turkey and gravy with mashed potato, roll maple glazed carrots, apple crisp milk choice, garlic dipping sticks, marinara sauce, baked beans, corn, watermelon slices, pulled pork, sub, Caesar salad, corn, apples, fish burger, French fries, assorted vegetables with dip, spaghetti with meat sauce, chicken burger, shepherd's
thank
pie,
you,
dinner
Jane, you're
roll.
making me hungry.
And ours is
Kelsey, you hungry now?
breadsticks with marinara sauce.
And the menus can sound great until I see what it looks like. You don't really know what it
I've
And
is.
I
eaten- I've
wonder
eaten there.
too, if there can be this free food, this free option, and then maybe we level up and go, but if you want to purchase some cost 50 lunch, you are open to these options. I don't know, or it might exempt the free food when you do enter more food because they do that thing. If you don't take what we're offering, you get none.
Right.
It's a whole thing.
That's my point for doing all this, is seeing what we have. and what
Right,
I'm seeing on
exactly.
the outside.
Yep.
And
And
having
how we can
my wife
improve.
like, we're not even,
Right.
and it's the same, so that's,
Okay,
anyway.
great. So you guys have your
Well,
work
then
cut out
we've
for
got
you.
a-
Okay, another committee. We'll be anxiously awaiting your findings. Thank you for taking that on though. I think it's important.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Jay.
Okay, we all good with that? And I think it's important to make sure that we do include the students. The students need to be included in.
Yeah, I really like having, I was excited to see this on there and have,
Right.
to see them both here to
Good.
get their input.
Okay, so next on the agenda is a school safety discussion. So we do have somebody that would like to speak. Mary Ann Libby, thank you for waiting so patiently for us to get to this item.
I want to bring up one of the items you have on your information here, and that is of the school resource officer. That had been discussed a number of years ago also. And one of the things that shot that down was the expense of it. And also I had done a whole lot of research on why they often do not work well in a school and kept sending that to all of the admin people. And so I've started doing research again to update that a little bit. I think you've probably read that many schools in the country are getting rid of their SROs due to uneven treatment of students and just ineffectiveness of the program often. They are finding statistically that SROs don't tend to stop school shootings or violent acts. And that's, you know, if that's part of what you're going to be discussing, you have to look at that. I want to say that also from the research I've done and others have done, there's a much higher impact of having an SRO in school on students of color or students who are disabled, have autism, whatever. And I have seen that even in terms of, I had always worked with kids who are struggling at the high school and also the few kids of color that we have had over the years, and found that even with very well-meaning admin and that kind of thing, there is an unevenness. And statistically, there is a great unevenness when there's a police person in the building. They call it school to prison pipeline, but there's a lot of things in between there too. I look at what the salary might be, and I think, you know, the people who deal with this really struggling students are ed techs, and they don't get that kind of salary. And they are often the ones who take down a bad situation. I would like to see, instead of hiring a police officer with a gun, I would like to prefer us to look at having a social worker, a therapist, someone who understands restorative justice to be out there in the schools. You're right, we probably don't have the money to have one in each school. I wish we could. I think that someone like that is really important in every school nowadays. But I will be glad to share any research I'm coming up with all of you, and I hope that you do look at it. I think that SROs are not the way to go in order to keep us safe and to make our students feel like they are being cared for. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne, and thank you for your suggestions along with your concern about SRO. And I would love to see the research that you referred to, if you wouldn't mind sharing it with us. Thank you.
Yep. So I have my updates there. I know, again, that's a school system like ours would typically look to develop a memorandum of understanding, and it would most likely be with the Kennebec Sheriff's Department. There are some schools that actually have their own and pay their own SRO officers. Coney's one of them. There's a lot of different kind of models out there, so I just chose the one that people are most familiar with. I have had a few parents reach out and ask questions about SRO officers, or SROs, sorry. And I've kind of given them the same answer that, you know, we're looking at it, we're reevaluating our plans. We haven't ever had one in this district at this point. So that's kind of where we are. As I was telling Kathy earlier, I am going to go to the School Safety Summit, which is being put on by the Department of Education. Has a separate school safety group, and they put this together. So I have 3 other members of various school emergency teams that are going with me. Kelly Thompson is going to be going on the 23rd. That one's specific to buses, so that we can get kind of the latest information that we can bring back here. And a lot of you guys saw emails that I had sent out about reviewing door policies, making sure our alarms were set, using our protocols. The district has made a significant investment in that. We have cameras inside and outside of all schools right now. And again, that was a significant investment by the district. And all of those are live. We actually have cameras on the buses as well. And I know you guys know that. We reviewed when the incident happened in Texas. We did review right away. I reminded administrators that they needed to review with their staff, knowing we only had about 3 weeks left at that point. But they found several areas that we need to take a look at going into the fall. So they will be doing work over the summer to get ready for the fall as well. And then the other thing that we are working on is there's some updated laws that have gone into place about 911 protocols with your phone lines. So we are currently working on that as well, so that we are kind of as updated as we can going forward. So we still have work to do. I don't want to make it sound all glossy and nice. There is definitely work to do, but it was a good opportunity for us to take a look at what we needed to kind of shore up and go back to using going forward here. So there's a lot to it again.
Any questions? Kim?
So this may be really stupid because I only remember enough to be dangerous here, but I feel like we had a presentation by Tina about something having to do with
Yes.
this. Maybe,
We were
I feel like it was
using,
right before COVID,
Yep.
and then COVID hit, and obviously everything changed, but
That was the Alice
What-
training, and we were using Alice, and
But
we
we are
had
not
that
anymore?
through December of this year. And there is a cost. What we did is we funded that through the RSC, but the RSC isn't funding that anymore. So we're going to, that's part of the work that one of the reasons why I wanted to go that safety summit is being able to get a protocol so that it's the same district wide across the schools. But we have Alice until December. And we have used it sparingly, going to be very honest, very sparingly. Yeah, Alice, yeah. Alice training is a specific course curriculum. And I do not remember the acronym, what it stands for off the top of my head. But it's basically gives you, what I liked about Alice was it gives you permission to react and to not get yourself caught in the, well, I got to do X, Y, and Z and kind of, where's my checklist? I got to make sure it's like, you need to react, take care of yourself, take care of the students, get out of the building versus the kind of hide mentality that was current for a long time. It was, lock yourself in a bathroom or hide in a closet or whatever it was. And Alice moves you away from that. And it's basically fight, get out of there as quick as you can. And use whatever means necessary to keep yourself safe. So that's kind of the Alice shift that went with that. That one was, I'm not going to say it was highly well adopted, but knowing some of what you've heard in the news, I know that there's a shift. Again, I've been hearing rumblings of people talking about going to the, you don't try to hide anymore. You find a way out as quick as you can. So that's kind of sort of what it's all about. But it was a specific curriculum that you could walk through, not just with the staff, but you could also walk through it with the students at the appropriate level going forward. So,
but we're not gonna.
We're going to start phasing that out because it's very pricey. It's about, for our small district, we were looking at almost $6,000 for that curriculum. And I feel like we can probably get a better curriculum for that amount of money and get more local people involved in it. It's kind of this, like, I know Dane and I have talked a little bit about it. And I think we've got a lot of resources close to us that we could use. And I think they would be very happy based on when we did our reunification drill my first year here, like all of the various agencies were here and part of that. So I feel like if we can get back to that, we have some real strong resources within the district that we can use. Good question, Kim.
Let's go way back into mine.
Any other questions or discussions? Sean?
Well, first, I think we had this discussion a while back about an SRO, and I was in support of it then. I'm in support of it now. I think seeing law enforcement in front of schools, I know Reedfield Elementary, they've been in front, and I've heard kids talk about it, and they think it's pretty cool. And so one thing I wondered if you could ask, I've heard this happening. I don't know if it's happening in Maine. I know there was some talk about this, is law enforcement officers having an off, like not being an SRO, but not in the middle of the school, but I know we don't have a lot of space, but somewhere where they can go do their paperwork when they're not out, or take calls. I mean, sometimes I have looked into this, and it could take a little bit for a law enforcement officer to get to some of these schools if we have an issue. And not, something to see if that's happening anywhere in Maine. I do know it is happening in other states from stuff I've read. And there's not a cost to the district besides housing them. And I don't know if there'd be any, I haven't done research, but I'd be interested. I'm sure there'd be folks at this conference who would know if it is happening in Maine, if folks are interested. The world is getting more of a scarier place, and mental health is key, but there's also a responsibility to keep our children safe. And there are things happening, I'm not going to get into detail, right in our own communities in the last month that our schools have had to deal with determining if children should be getting off the bus or not. And there was one instance right in my neighborhood where 4 state troopers had to come, and there was a check if those children should get off that bus or not. So I think people, and I guess the last thing I'll say is, folks should be, or in my opinion, folks should be careful how they categorize law enforcement officers and when it comes to race and stuff like that. I know a lot of law enforcement officers, and they're very respectful people.
David?
Unless there's someone else.
I think it was you.
I really like to talk about cooperating with our local services, law enforcement and everything, because as was said, we can get a lot of support and good help through that. As was noted, the information I have is that SROs in the schools, for instance, the last 2 school shootings, there were SROs there. It did not stop. And so that, I don't feel in itself is a worthwhile investment to protect the schools. Having better interaction, maybe the office idea, having that cooperation with them, that is important, and we need them in our communities. As you just said, we need them working with us in the schools. But having the officers in the school has tended to, in at least a number of cases, lead to turning to the officers for discipline instead of what the teachers and administration should be doing and doing better when we're dealing with the children. I'm also very proud of ourselves that we just this year decided to employ a social worker. That speaks exactly to what you were saying, and I agree that we need to continue with those efforts.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
So,
Jane?
I just wanted to touch base a little bit on it because I went to school in Colorado, and I did have a school resource officer in my high school, and it was a very, very positive experience. That individual was very involved with the kids. They went out of their way with some of the kids that had maybe a little bit more trouble and were getting into a little bit more trouble, and they were there to support them. They weren't there to penalize them. They were there to help them and kind of guide them. And they really kind of mentored a lot of our, a lot of kids in our cohort that were kind of struggling. And it was always good to see their face. It's like you always felt comfortable and safe when they were around. I feel like it builds a good relationship between you know, our students and our police force as well. It's always good to have that good, I guess, like, because a lot of kids sometimes always look at it in a negative way, right? Like the police only show up when something bad has happened or when somebody's getting in trouble. And this is a way to see them in a positive light. They're here as a resource. They're here to help you. They're here to guide you. They're here to keep you safe. I think it's good to kind of remember that. The other thing that I mean, I'm from Colorado. So again, Columbine happened there while I was in school. And a lot of things changed. And that's when we really there was resource officers in most of our high schools. There's metal detectors in a lot of our schools. So as kids came through, they would have to go through the metal detector. I know it sounds kind of weird to think about, but at the same time, it's one of those things that if you catch something before it comes into the building because it's going through the metal detector, that's a good thing, you know. And we have had a lot of inner city schools where they have pulled out guns and they've pulled out knives, they've pulled out all sorts of things that should not have been going into the school in these higher risk areas. And unfortunately, as the world is turning, it's kind of getting scarier and scarier.
Dane? Tyler?
Just to piggyback off Dave's comment, there was a school resource officer in Texas who was not there because he was a roving patrol, which is what we would. It's not a good idea. Then there's a resident SRO who is assigned there, and that's what Jade's referring to, and seems to have a better approach to that. And then on to Sean's comment, I have been approached by deputies, state troopers, who have told me that exact thing, that if they had a space for schools where they could come here instead of going into Augusta to do paperwork, because that's where they have to go to get, you know, laptops or their desktops, whatever, in print. If they had space, they could just go in, having that cruiser parked out front. It's a fact that a marked cruiser or a police vehicle is a deterrent in of itself. A marked cruiser or the unmarked cruiser and a police officer are a deterrent in of itself. It's fact. It's out there. And they would be more than willing to do that. And I've been around the community and there's deputies everywhere. And if they had a place to plug in and kind of, not call it home, but, you know, be able to do paperwork for a while, it'd be huge. And like he said, wouldn't cost anything.
Tyler?
I'm going to be pretty blunt. I am against having an SRO in schools. I didn't work in Parkland, work in Uvalde, and I think that there is a lot of negative repercussions on the discipline side that have negative consequences. I think, I don't have the study in front of me, but I know I read a study where most SROs are off-sited to handle discipline. And I think having a police officer handle, you know, minor disciplinary actions to students is a negative outcome on students' achievements. I don't think we should be using what is effectively a law enforcement officer to outsource our discipline, and I think that's where it inevitably ends up when we have an SRO. I agree with Dane. I think having a space for local police officers to be in the area as a precaution is a good idea. I do not think the district should invest in an SRO to have that presence in our schools.
Patty?
I don't really know who I'm piggybacking this comment on anymore, but so I grew up in Chicago and it was just what Jade said, and there were police officers and metal detectors and like all the things, and there were still like shootings and stabbings and all the things. And there were also people who had really great relationships with the school resource or the police officers who were there. I don't know. That was a long time ago, but they still have people like that now. And I worked at RSU in the RSU 4 district, and they had some kind of partnership with the local police department, and it was almost like the mentoring thing that I'm not sure I totally know what you do, Kim, as a mentor, but I think it sounds sort of like that, and it is awesome. And when I was working there, I just saw so many students when the officers were around, they like had secret handshakes, and it was, I don't know statistics and research about whether the presence of law enforcement helps or doesn't help if there were to be, God forbid, a shooting situation. But what I do know is that we need to make more connections and not fewer connections in every way that we can. And we need to promote more relationships connected to kindness as much as we can. And if we could have people from law enforcement be part of our school communities, I think that would be a huge asset that way. Dave?
Yeah, my 2 cents. I don't know. I just really, think having the presence here on the school is nothing but a positive thing. It starts, knowing that there's somebody here. The chances of making a mistake and doing something stupid, I think, it's less of a chance of them thinking. No one has a deterrent here. It's not a bad thing. And I think they're good role models. I think it can be a good role model for these kids too. Less kids picking on this kid too, because I'm sure most police are, they're going to intervene and say, come on, guys, roaming around. I don't know. I just think it's a good presence. And like I said, it's my 2 cents. That's.
Thank you. Can I just say something? I worked in RSU 9 for 10 years before I came here. And I was in the middle school, and we had a resource officer in the middle school, and there was one in the high school, and it was awesome. There was no interference with discipline. There was no, they were there to build relationships with kids, and that's exactly what they were doing. They were I saw so many kids being helped by these officers that were in the school, and they were there full time. They were there all day, every day, one in the high school and one in the middle school. And when there was no longer any funding for that position and they went away, it was a really sad day for everybody. The kids felt really bad. They thought that they were losing a connection with somebody that they really needed, and that relationship. And as a teacher, I felt like I was really supported in helping kids in another way. And there wasn't any part of that they took over any kind of discipline. That was totally the teacher, the administrator. They were there for a whole different purpose. And I think that really is key if we want to think about having a resource officer. It's got to be the right person. It can't, it has to be somebody that really understands about developing relationships with young people and really how important that is, and understands that's not to come in there and take over the discipline. But in the 10 years that I was there and we had those SROs, it was incredible. And I would really be in favor of having some kind of police presence here.
What do the
Jane?
students think?
Yes,
Jane?
I was gonna ask them after my comment.
Okay, but make a comment, then I'm gonna ask you guys, so be ready.
Okay.
It's gone?
I forgot.
It'll come back. Go ahead. I can't remember what you were gonna say.
I just want to say, I've never had a resource officer, but the idea of a person, or not necessarily threatening, but someone with a weapon in the school, I feel may distract from learning. And I like the idea of an officer being on the outside of the school or around the area, like an office in the district, but the idea of someone being in the school with a weapon regularly makes me uncomfortable. I don't know about the rest of the students, but that is me personally.
Thank you.
See, I agree with most of it. I don't necessarily feel uncomfortable, but I think I like the opposite. I think that because I know students would get used to it either way, but like right now, anytime an officer is like at the school at all, it's a huge ordeal. And I think getting students used to them being there is a good idea, but I don't think you need to have them there at all times. I just don't think, I think it would be honestly, not necessarily a waste of resources, but like, I think it could be put towards other things to also add to the safety. But because like if we still do the office, you could still make all those connections. Because like it could be like only like 2 or 3 different ones that would come in. Like I'm assuming it wouldn't be a ton of different, I mean, you never know. But like I'm assuming it wouldn't be a ton of different people. So people would still get to know the officers. But I don't think we need to have a permanent like person.
Thank you. John?
My comments about where I'm headed is beyond school resource, police officers.
Safety.
Yeah, it's school safe, so I just didn't want to move on if people still want to talk about officers. Okay, well, I think we really need to be firm with, and I hate to use the word this, but if a teacher or staff member gets caught, like I just saw it recently, someone prodded a door open, like that needs to be like, I know no one wants to be the bad guy, but it is proven. If you leave the door open, if you make it easier, like I've seen it in the schools, or someone's just opened a door for somebody. We've really got to start at the beginning of the school year, talking with kids. Like, saw a kid do it when I went to pick up my son. Like I knew the kid, but still, like that, those kids don't always know. Like I could be having a bad day. I could not be there. Could have just had I mean, it happens in our communities. And I think and not just the kids, but the staff, like it might be a pain, as you said in your email, to walk around, but those things are still happening. And we really need to make sure that if you get caught, like you've really got to be like, this is our children's safe in their safety. And people say, oh, it can't happen here. Well, probably everybody said that it can't happen here. And I think we really need to make sure that those things are done, and it needs to be a part of the start of the school year.
Kelsey?
Thank you for saying those words, the price of safety. So I can't imagine going through what anybody has gone through in this incredible situation. And the price of safety. Take my money, take it all. Whatever it looks like, invest it. It's just a number on a piece of paper. I want the federal government to put money in every public school. I want Fort fucking Knox.
Esme?
Yeah, going off of the door thing. So we technically we started doing the don't open the doors unless they have the buzzer, which you have to buzz in, which is all good until you get, like I've noticed the students, we've gotten really good at not opening doors, but it's the staff. Like I know up at the English wing at the high school, it's really like all the time. I see teachers going in and out all the time. And sometimes they can't get in, so then they look at students and like guilt trip them into opening the doors for them. It's like, I know we're not supposed to, but what are we supposed to do? Just not let them in if it's your teacher. Like that's where it gets really hard as a student. And I think that could change very easily as long as staff like really starts to follow it. Because like as students, the only 2 doors that we need have buzzers. The one going outside to the music room and then the front door. That's all we need. Because the other 2 doors, or the other, whatever, how many doors there are, we don't use them. Like that's staff. Those are staff doors. And so as long as they start, I think that's going to be a big change.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
I just want to say thank you for sharing that. You were being a little more direct. I like it. Thank you. I mean, we can't be having that. That's the point I'm making. Like, the students don't know. Maybe that staffer was just let go. Like, it's not always, I mean, I'm not saying that happened, but it's not always the obvious people who do bad things.
So we have somebody from the audience.
My name is Annie Seifried.
Oh,
Can you go?
wait a minute, you need to go up to
Can you go to the mic?
just so that we can hear you.
My name is Annie Seyfried. My son is in second grade in the Readiness Skills Program at Reed Field. I volunteered at Field Day, which was amazing. What really scared me was that there was a lot going on, and without anyone watching me, I was able to access 2 out of the 3 doors that I tried to open, which was great for me because I had to go to the bathroom and I could get to the bathroom quickly. But it made me think no one's really watching. No one knows what adult is attached to which parent. So I just think especially for activities where you have these celebrations, I think there's not as much vigilance on the people who's connected to, who's supposed to be going to the building, who's a registered volunteer, who's not fully registered as a volunteer, so they're tagging along with the volunteer. It just scared me that it was really easy breezy to open that door and walk right in. And there was no one in the hallway. I mean, so it was a little scary, but thank you.
And just to name and face, Annie will be joining us in September as a new board member. So just so people know, name and face.
Welcome. Welcome. Any other discussion on our safety protocols?
I think just real quick, another big thing to think about is how spread out this district is in our schools. And when I was a trooper in this area, my kids go to Manchester, so my concentration was Manchester. Obviously, there's other troopers and deputies whose kids go to Wayne, whatever, but majority of them, even though you're assigned to a patrol area, and there's 3 troopers to a patrol area, maybe 5 deputies. So it's the same ones all the time, but they're not always here and they're away. But if they had that space, and I heard that from time, even if I had it, like if we could just come here rather than being in Augusta, Wayne is very far out. Yeah. What else?
Yeah, I think that's a
At
great
Field
idea.
Day, there was a resource officer, I was at Field Day too, and at Wayne, and he, not resource officer, an officer came. And I don't know who he was, but the kids flocked to him, and he was so kind, and he played basketball with them, and it was a great experience.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see him, because it is wide open.
Yeah.
Wide open and trusting out there. It's great.
I visit my kids' school all the time. And
Yeah.
It's now, it was, like you said, like when I came to high school, everyone was like the chitter chatter of a trooper or whatever was here. The elementary school now is like, it was name. And if I go to different school, they're like, what's going on? Yeah.
It could just be.
They were heroes when we were growing up.
And there's others that said, those interactions are what we need
Right.
the young people and the rest of us to have. And how we arrange those interactions is what
Right.
we need to work on.
And that's where Tyler's point is, that sometimes having that badge, that gun, that power and authority that teachers or the admin kind of push, like maybe we should deal with this, and then it just starts, maybe you should, we just start, now he's doing everything. So I agree with that.
Okay, great discussion. Thank you. So do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Wait, before we go, I
Sorry.
should have said this when it was addition adjustment time, but I just want to say, based on what Esme and Eric just said and what we were chit-chatting about at the start, is there a way to have students who are part of the board vote, even if it is only symbolic? Like we don't count them, but it is a way that they can say stuff. I think it would be really useful. I don't know if other schools, I'm looking at you, Kathy, because I know you did research about what some other schools are doing. I just think that it would be, hearing your input about this, about the food service stuff, about everything is just amazing and awesome. And it would be really, really wonderful to be able to have. I understand that like legally we are the voters, but even if symbolically the students could participate in the vote, I think that would be a good thing. I think that would allow more avenues for you, I'm just talking to you, right, because you're here, but the students to participate and be heard and weigh in and stuff like that.
I'm not sure how to answer your question because I don't know the answer to it, but I can find out. And I think that we could decide that locally. That's something that we want to decide, as long as it was just, everybody understood it's just symbolically. But I'll find out one way or the other, just to make sure that we're not doing anything we shouldn't be doing, because I think it's a great idea.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Now do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session to consider evaluation of public officials pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A.
Second.
Okay, vote. Kim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Jade,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Kelty,
Yes.
and David.
Yes.
Unanimous. So we're going
Okay,
in.
so we are now in executive session. Diane, is there a motion for adjourn?
We're gonna give it to Kim as the last,
Oh, Kim.
last official act.
There's, I didn't hear a second.
There we
How about
go.
the favor? We have to go,
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Take care, Kim.